Fallout 4 recently turned 10 years old, and Bethesda decided to do what they do best and sold us the same game again with the Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. Besides breaking mods again, this update adds a ton of new content you can pay for to add things to your game. Some of this looks cool, but seriously, making us pay for it? On the game's birthday? It just rubbed a bunch of people the wrong way, so many fans, myself included, are upset about it. But instead of just wallowing in sorrow about how Todd Howard fooled us again with his sweet little lies, I've decided to do something about it. I'll make my own Fallout 4 Anniversary update for the low cost of $0, and it will be way better. With blackjack and... I'm kidding, but... I mean, mods probably do exist for both of those things if you want to go that route. Now, my Fallout 4 mod list is already quite extensive, but I want to start a new playthrough with a few key mods I've been meaning to try that sort of remaster the game. This is supposed to be a celebration of Fallout 4, so I figure I should try and improve on what's already a great game and remember why I've stuck with it for 10 years. But I do want to explain something quick since there's a bit of confusion about the different versions of Fallout 4. First, there's the old gen version, which most mods work with, and it's the version that I and many others still choose to play on, as opposed to updating the game. Then there's the next gen update from over a year ago, which broke the game while adding some new content, but it has a ton of issues, so it sucks, and a bunch of mods don't work with it, so just stick with the old version. Now we have the Anniversary Edition, which updates the game again, and fixes some things from that buggy next-gen update, but also brings some new issues, and some mods still won't work with it. So for all these reasons, I will be staying on that old-gen version, and just modding the game without having to worry about Bethesda breaking my save. But now, let's get into the mods I've chosen. As I already mentioned, I have a big mod list, but since I'm starting a new playthrough, these are the mods that I think will make for a better Anniversary Edition than what Bethesda wants us to pay for. First up is the mod Creation Club Delayed, which is very important since it makes it so you aren't bombarded with quests as soon as you leave the vault. Now, this change was actually implemented into the Anniversary update, so good on Bethesda for that, but since we won't be updating, this mod is pretty necessary. So now if you want to start a Creation Club quest, you actually have to be near the location for it to pop up. This is a huge help and definitely essential if you're like me and have a bunch of these creations installed from a few years ago. The only problem is since we're on the old gen version, we won't be able to buy any new creations, or even some of the old creations. You can't buy them now because that store page is broken unless you update. So, yeah. If anyone knows how to, get new creations on the old version, please let me know. That would be so cool. I also have a bunch of mods to make my character look better, but honestly, I don't remember what half of them are. Sorry. I'm pretty sure I have some version of Serene Skin, I think is the name, but that mod isn't on Nexus anymore. So. Really, a lot of this is just going to come down to personal preference. You got to get an HD face mod and then a skid mod to go with it, and a couple other things. You got to keep all the text. It's a whole thing. I can't really explain it that well. I figured it out, and I've just never touched it since. So look on Nexus. There's probably a guide there. You can figure out how to make your character look good. But now that we've made our character look pretty, let's update the facial animations in Fallout 4 with immersive facial animations. Look, you're probably thinking that I'm joking here, but really, I've seen these characters' bland facial expression for so long that just making them look ridiculous is enough to breathe new life into the game for me. So it seems like a joke, but mods like this are actually really important for making the game feel fun again. It also makes that boring intro more fun, and speaking of the intro, Sean is now a demon baby, so take that as you will. But now onto the big mods that will really have an impact on how you play the game. With these new creations, Bethesda wants us to pay to feel nostalgic about Fallout 3 in New Vegas, and you can buy these to feel like you're playing those great games, but I instead prefer to add some mods that actually bring back the cool features from those games, instead of just, nostalgia bait. This is mainly done with two great mods, Karma and Reputation. Both of these mods are by BP42S, who makes a ton of cool mods, but these two specifically are features that were missing from Fallout 4. Let's start with Karma. If you do good things, you gain good karma. If you do bad things, you gain bad karma. But this goes beyond just murder, as even the dialogue lines you choose will now have either good or bad karma. Which honestly reminds me of picking the antagonize button in Red Dead 2 sometimes.
I love work. You could sit and watch it all day.
Well, for starters, we could use some real beds. We've been sleeping on the ground for too long.
Do I look like a carpenter to you?
I don't know what you look like.
This may seem small, but honestly I haven't cared about the dialogue lines I picked since my first playthrough. But with this mod, I now have a reason to care. If I want to have good karma, I need to actually be nice to the NPCs, and if I want to pick all the funny, sarcastic lines, I can, but then I'll face the consequences. This is highly configurable in the mod configuration menu, so you can adjust things, like if bounty hunters will come after you at high or low karma, just like in Fallout 3. But this mod goes great in tandem with Reputation, which adds faction reputation from Fallout New Vegas. If you work with a faction, they will like you, and maybe even give you gifts. If you attack a faction, they will say mean things to you or attack you. They may even send hint squads after you. And again, this is all highly configurable in the MCM. And it's not just the main factions. Cities and even minor factions have reputation levels for you to consider, making some otherwise forgettable factions either great allies or opponents to watch your back for. So now you've brought back some classic Fallout features to breathe new life into this game, but I want my character to look cool too. I must admit, that new Deathclaw armor set looks cool, and this other outfit pack by Eleonora too. I wonder if she's made other cool outfits. Introducing Ellie's Armor Compendium. You all should know Eleonora as the queen of player home mods, but she also made this amazing collection of custom outfits that fit right into the game. Now, this is one of the most popular and oldest mods for the game, but it got a pretty big update last year and is definitely worth checking out again if you downloaded it before in the past. I love the way these outfits look, and they can add some great diversity to what the NPCs wear too. And this is all added through a new shop, which is fun and, most importantly, immersive. This mod is a personal favorite of mine that I hadn't checked out in a while, and now seemed like the perfect time to do it. But now with new armor, we need a new weapon. Instead of paying for one, let's turn to the Nexus to get this golden scar. Okay, but seriously, there are so many weapon mods that add new weapons that I don't even know what to recommend. Nexus has so many great free options. But one mod I will definitely recommend is the Attachment Pack, which adds a ton of new weapon mods to basically every weapon in the game. And this mod has its own mod called the Attachment Pack Unofficial Expansion and Refinement. Wow, that's a mouthful. Which adds even more options. All of these are great for adding more diversity to weapon customization, even allowing you to make weapons look like they did in older Fallout games. But with new gear, we should really bring some variety to the enemies in the Commonwealth to really add some challenge. Now, there are a lot of options here, but one I've been meaning to try is immersive legendary mutations. You know how when you find a legendary enemy, they just mutate and get all their health back and start glowing halfway through the fight? Yeah, with this mod, all of that changes. Now legendary enemies just mutate whenever they feel like it and gain ability like freezing attacks, or they move faster and hit harder. And there are different effects for organic enemies versus robot enemies, since robots have no organic matter in them to mutate. At least not before I get near one. Basically, it doesn't make sense for a robot to mutate, so on the mod description they say how the robots must have been modified or something. Still, it's cool they went the extra mile to try and explain a lore problem Bethesda never bothered to care about. And yes, these new legendary enemies will still drop legendary gear, but sometimes that legendary gear sucks, or they drop something else that would be more of use to you as components. But who wants to pick all that up and drag it to a workbench? It would be so much easier if you could just smash that gun to bits and take the junk items for crafting. Well, now you can, thanks to the brand new mod, Scrap As You Go. If you see an item you can scrap at a workshop, you can now just scrap it on the go. This will give you junk items based on the level of the scrapper perk that you have, or if you have another mod that adds skills into the game. I found this mod to be a little buggy with some items, but it provides a great utility, and if you're a settlement builder like I am, you're always on the lookout for more junk, and this makes for a great way to collect it without filling your inventory with a bunch of weighty weapons and armor. Also, let's talk about visuals, since that's a pretty great way to make your game look better. For textures, don't use this buggy mess. Instead, there are hundreds of retexture mods on Nexus, and this is another thing that's going to come down to personal preference, and if you have the storage space for several gigabytes of mods. And there are some mods like Vivid Fallout that are fairly comprehensive, but for things like armor and weapons, you're going to have to find more individual mods for those things. I also use ENB and Reshade, which can be a bit costly on performance, but they make the game look way better and just more modern, so I like to use them. Anyway, are you tired of seeing the same main menu? Not that the main theme of the game composed by Inan Zor isn't amazing, but a change can really give you the motivation you need to start a new playthrough.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Okay, sorry again, but to be serious, we could really use some quest content to give a real reason to play this game again. I can highly recommend a few I've played in the past, like America Rising 2, which adds the Enclave into the game for a true evil playthrough, which is completely integrated into the main story. Another great mod is South of the Sea, which overhauls the glowing sea and the whole bottom half of the map, with new locations, enemies, and even some quests. The original mod was pretty buggy, but it's been taken up by other modders and re-released with the name Adam's Storm, so definitely worth checking out if you want to have something new to explore. But with these mods, I think I've laid a good foundation for a new playthrough of this game, and I think a lot of these mods are going to have permanent places in my mod lists going forward. And I do want to note, I don't want to sound like I'm knocking these paid mods. I know the mod authors put a lot of effort into them, and it's great they're being paid for their work, so if you want to pay for these creations, then by all means, don't let me dissuade you. I just wanted to highlight some great free mods with this video. But with that, I hope you enjoyed, and consider checking these mods out if you're on PC. Sorry console players, but apparently you're getting more mod space soon, so you have that to look forward to. And sorry to Todd Howard, look, I was mean to you, but I still love you, okay? Please release Fallout 5 sometime before I die.
So we're glad